Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Let's quickly chat about the latest updates on the United States economy. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm sure you've heard bits and pieces, but I thought I would put it together in a quick video. First and foremost, the United States just hit a new record of $35 trillion in national debt. We are on track to hit $36 trillion very soon. Every single day we spend $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion on interest expense alone. And of course, that is the money that doesn't go to things like free school lunches for children and other important causes. By the way, 10-year baseline projections now show that debt held by the public will exceed $50 trillion by 2034. At the rate that we're going, I would assume that it would happen much sooner, which means that it will swallow the entire U.S. economy's output. There is an entire video here on my channel if you're interested with more details. In that video, I shared 3 areas that will suffer the most as the result of the spike in debt. Next, we need to talk about employment numbers. The most recent employment data shows that the labor market is in big trouble, and I mean big trouble. More is to come, as this is just the beginning. I don't think that we even opened the Pandora's box just yet. A bad labor report that includes an increase in unemployment is definitely a red flag. Perhaps this is why Senator Elizabeth Warren several days ago said that Fed Chair Jerome Powell actually needs to cancel his summer vacation and come back to cut interest rates right now. Of course, there weren't too many of us who were naive enough to think that the Federal Reserve is independent of politics, but still, that was a bit too obvious in my opinion. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics is reporting here that according to chart 1 on your left-hand side, unemployment rate is ticking up. Slowly but surely we see the trend. Employment remains below its 2023 levels. The BLS says the unemployment rate rose to 4.3% in July, and the number of unemployed people increased. These measures are higher than a year earlier, when the jobless rate was 3.5% and the number of unemployed people was 5.9 million. By the way, once again, the prior month data was revised down. So this indicates that the US economy has slowed down much more than originally forecasted. And to be completely honest with you, since those forecasts are frankly absolutely meaningless at this point in time and useless, I mean, how much value are you going to put in a forecast that is issued by an agency that keeps revising their actuals on a monthly basis down? But what I believe this is showing us is that they are starting to admit that this isn't going as planned, this isn't going to be good, and you need to take note of these worse than expected readings and adjust accordingly and plan accordingly. So employment numbers were disappointing, an increase of just 114,000, nearly 50%. Look at this, nearly 50% below the monthly average. In reality, all of the net job gains month over month as of July have been part-time employment. So it is the second or even the third jobs that people have. So in other words, gig employment is going up. The US economy actually lost a little over 1 million full-time jobs as of July. Another interesting point that I would like to draw your attention to, particularly those of you who are in the United States, is that the composition of the labor market has shifted dramatically. Native-born Americans have lost 1.2 million jobs, while the employment of those who were born outside of the United States and moved to the United States has increased 1.3 million jobs. By the way, Bloomberg just said that Goldman is increasing chances of the US going into a recession from 15% to 25%. Now, of course, we know well that arguably we are in a recession already, and we have been for a while. But again, I think it's a way to start planting those seeds to later say, well, we told you so that we would go into a recession. Of course, we understand that the real numbers are not included in these reports, that the real numbers are quite different. And precisely that is one of the reasons why we see these revisions, these downward revisions on a monthly basis. Here, Bloomberg says more Americans are considered long-term unemployed, working part-time for economic reasons. Of course, those of us who have been following these trends knew this all along for months now. The increase in part-time employment month over month was precisely because more and more Americans needed that extra stream of income to help them make ends meet. The third interesting point that I would like to make today is the latest news related to Warren Buffett. Of course, Warren Buffett knows what is going on. He knows the recent indicators and what they mean. Well, the cash pile that Buffett is holding on to is absolutely unprecedented right now. It's never happened before in the history of the company. In an interesting and clearly defensive move a couple of days ago, Berkshire Hathaway sold $75.5 billion worth of Apple stock. This move will allow the company to increase its liquidity, of course, and now it is sitting on $290 billion in cash. A flashing red signal that any expectation of some stability or a positive upside in the near future are nothing short of naive. With that said, I hope that this quick overview of the recent key data, primarily related to the labor market, I hope that it is helpful and helps you understand what's going on. Clearly, there's a lot to worry about, and even though the Federal Reserve is now expected to cut rates either by a quarter point or maybe even half a point, I don't believe that it's going to turn things around. By the way, on August the 2nd, here's what Fed Chair Jerome Powell said about the Fed's plans to possibly cut rates in September.
The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
As always, thank you for watching. Please show your support. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you learned something from it. Consider sharing it and subscribe both on Rumble and YouTube. By the way, a couple of you mentioned that you were unsubscribed from my channel and you had to subscribe once again. So check your subscription status. Make sure that you follow me on alternative social media such as Rumble, on X, and Telegram. You will find all of my social platforms linked in the video description below. As always, I would love to have you back for my next one tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.